Yo yo yo! Welcome to Chief Keef Beat tutorial. I'll go over the melody at first, then I'll go over the drums, then I'll go over the mixing, and then I'll go over some like tips and tricks, and of course I'll play the whole beat when I'm done talking about it. And some before I start off, like there was a guy on my one of my beats that was wondering what plugins I use. So for the non-free ones, I use Purity and Nexus. The reason is because they're really good, of course, but I don't have other plugins that cost money. Uh, and then I use Citrus as well. That's a stock plugin for FL Studio. So if you have FL Studio, you should have that one. And sometimes I use a plugin called Wave Station. If I'm pretty desperate for sound, so I'll go there. If I can't find anything that I like. But yeah, let's start off. So this is not like I usually do futuristic type Chief Keef beats. This is not a futuristic one, but it's also not one of those brutal 2012 beats. It's like something like 2013 maybe. So yeah, what I like to do when I want strings in my beat, I start off with the strings as a base for the whole beat, basically. Like I build my other melody parts off of this. So first of all, let's hear how the string sounds. Yeah. So you can see I have like I place a note where I want it to be, of course, but I wanted this one to start in E. So you can see I place another note, two notes above this one, and 1 3 above the other. It will basically almost always sound great when you do this, and if it doesn't, you can just move around in different notes where you want it to start. And the thing is, you can also place this one, the middle one, one note up, so it's like 3 2, for a different mood with your strings, or a different feeling. And then depending on if you want it to be like an uprising or like going down a little bit, you can then copy paste these first 4 hits and place them like below or up wherever you want them. And then I finish off this with one that goes up for it to be like a little more happier and energetic. And you can see in the end here I have 2 hitting like almost after each other at once for a nice finish. And a tip is, let's see, if you move this one, let's say you copy paste them and you move them down to here. So you see this one is in D sharp. It will not sound good. And my tip then is that you move around and play around with the middle notes and see where it finds its spot to sound good. And then use experience, you just like try stuff, and it will sound good eventually. And yeah. So as I said, I start off with the strings, and then I build my other melody parts off of that. So then I built this brass, which is probably in Nexus. Yeah, it's in Nexus. Yeah, but it's in like a pack that I downloaded before from Nexus. So yeah, and this is how it sounds. Yep. And then so yeah, I built this off of the strings. So that's like a very important thing when you make your beats, that when you've gotten comfortable making one certain type of beats, that you have like a base to build off of. I added a lead as well. It sounds like this. And as I said another time, if you're wondering how I knew where to place the notes, I just build it off the strings and play around a little bit where it sounds good. Let's see where I got those. So the lead is it's called the Bell Pad 3 in. It's not even a lead; it's a pad. My bad. In Nexus 3. And then I added hits. So for the hits, I usually don't like spam a lot of hits like this, But in this certain type of like in this type of beat, they fit like it fit really well to have a lot of hits. So let's see how it sounds. Yeah, so you see how it ends similar to the strings, and if you place like this one at E4 for example, you can place another one above it for it to get more energy instead of having only one at E4. So yeah, let's hear the other parts. So I bought an the orchestral like dance kit in Nexus. So the thing is, I added the arpeggiator option on it. It's a vocal or like a choir, and then I added the number 3 and turn on the arpeggiator, and it sounds like this. Yeah, so I really liked how that sounded, and then I added the like this the bells and the piano. In my for me, they're like very. The bells and the piano are in the same category because they add that little extra melody for the beat to sound whole, if you know what I mean. So the bells is Hands Up Bells 3 in Nexus. Sounds like this. Yeah, so kind of basic. And for as you see, there's a lot of melody parts. So for the beat to not get clogged, I oh, never mind. I shouldn't do that. Okay. Yeah, I added like a piano melody in the middle of it for it to get more energetic at a specific part, but not through the whole beat, because that would clog it up a lot. So it's also a Nexus 3 piano. Let's see which one it is. Yeah, so it's called Arena Ambience. It's one of my go-to pianos. So this is how it sounds. Yeah, so that's how that sounds. That's basically it. Almost. I forgot this one. It's also called bell, but it's a church bell. I call it a church bell at least, and it goes like this. Yeah, so this works real well to mark points in the beat. It doesn't hit. It hits more than usual. Sometimes I would usually remove this and remove this, but in this certain beat, it fit with more than 2 hits. And as you can see on the C one, the volume I changed it a little bit because it was too sharp of a sound. So like I lowered it. So yeah, and then we get to the drums. I added this. Maybe you can see it here. Yeah, you can see how it looks here. And it's a clap that I had in what is it called? I think it's called, yeah. If you search this, DP Beats shows the screen. Got really nice claps. So here's how it sounds. Yeah, so it sounds very basic right now because it's not playing together with the other stuff. And for the snare, this first snare hits at the same time as the clap, so it sounds like this. So when they play together, it's more mighty. So let's hear. Yeah, you hear it. And then I added like the snare 2. It's also a snare from the kit that I was just talking about. And this one only hits like at the, let's see. Yeah, at the end like that. So let's hear them all together. Yeah, so it's a really nice finish. And as you can see, I have another snare pattern, snare 3, because DP Beats usually puts a lot of, sometimes it puts really hard snares that hits quite often. But as you can see, it doesn't hit at every bar, or between every bar, like the multiple bars. And this one is also from the DP Shows the Screens kit. So I built the other snares first of all, and the clap, and then I built this off of those. So I know where it sounds good. So it will sound kind of weird now, but we'll play it all together later. So it sounds like this. Yeah. And if we play them together, as you can see, the snare 2 doesn't hit where the snare 3 does, because it doesn't match and it clogs up. It sounds off. So together with the basic ones, it sounds like this. Yeah. And let's see. Oh, so we're already at the 808. So the 808, I made 2 patterns. So what I do is I choose an 808 after I've made all this, and then I trim it. Oh wait, this is like the mixing part. I'll go over that later. But yeah, so the first one is very basic. It sounds like it's just, you see this pattern is kind of basic. It sounds like this. Yeah, so very basic. Then I clone that. You can just go here, I right click and clone, and then I mute the first one, copy paste the pattern into the other one, and then I like remake it for it not to sound the same throughout the beat. And this is how the other one sounds. Wait, it's not playing the right. There we go. Yeah. So I think it sounds nice if you mix it up a little bit, and with the notes as well. Yeah. So the kick, what I do with the kick is that I copy paste the first 808 pattern into the kick, and then I just minimize the notes, like they're not. I have not dragged them out. So the kick just hits at where the first 808 hits, and because the second 808 is built out off of the first one, it also sounds good together with the other one. So let's see how it sounds. It's also like most of this is from the DP kit. So yeah, so I mixed the kick a lot to make it not, because the kick was really loud from the beginning. But when I mixed it, it just added a little bit more punch to when the 808 hit. So the hi-hat pattern is kind of basic. This is how it looked like. Because if the hi-hat pattern were like really advanced in this, it would sound chaotic. Like the whole beat would sound chaos. So this is how it sounds. Yeah, so kind of basic. Sounds good though. And then I added a chant for energy. Okay, this is not the chant. This is the chant. Yeah, so very basic. It basically hits at every red beginning here. You can see. Then I added a open hat. Really basic pattern as well. Let's see where it is though. Yeah, there it is, open hat. So you can see how it looks like. It sounds like this. There we go. Yeah, so in a lot of Chief Keef beats, or like, I guess it's different from each beat, but often I hear where they use an open hat, where it's like soft, but it's dragged out for how long it plays. Sounds kind of good. And then I just added a Lex Luger percussion here in the beginning. It's in a Lex Luger drum kit. You can find that pretty easily. Just search for Lex Luger drum kit. It sounds like this to to mark that the beat starts, like with most of the instruments and drums and stuff. Hopefully that was not too loud. Okay, I'm gonna play the beat from the beginning now, so you can hear a little bit, and then I'll go over the mixing. Okay, so let me just fix this. The like the introduction to where the beat drops could have been more energetic, or like you could add a riser for it, but I decided just to add a snare and a hi-hat and some snares, and the melody builds up a little bit as well, because when you make your own beat, you will hear what sounds good for the build up and stuff. I'll talk a little bit about the love filter later, but yeah, okay. You just need to fix that. There we go. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so that's how that sounds. Hope you guys think that it sounded good. Let me just mute the love filter, because it kind of screws up sometimes. But yeah, you can see I added like the piano here for the more energetic part. So, and after the energetic part, I remove some melody parts, and I also remove the kick and like some chants and open hats for I want the listener to get the feeling that it's like calming down. It's going towards the verse, and here you can see the verse. So it drops in. I have shortened the bell, like the church bell, for it only to hit once at a couple occasions, so it's not that spammy, because I want the verse to be a little bit more calm. And you can see I add instruments after a certain point. So the strings are like there's six times before it goes back into the beat again, like for the hook or whatever. You can just check a little bit how I placed my stuff. I don't really. You can definitely. You don't need to do it like this. You can do it however you want to. And then when it starts again, I have the explosion. And when it's basically a copy paste. And for when it's like stops, I have the calm core melody parts, and then it like fades off with a master volume. What is it called? Automation clip, yeah. And then I also have the bell hit one more time. Then let's talk about the mixing for a little bit. So let's start with the melody mixing. Or first of all, the master. So you always want to add a free soft clipper. I added Maximus. So with Maximus, you can either choose master or low, and then you go into presets, and you press mastering and then master aid 1. What you will notice is that everything sounds much louder in your project. I use this to get a more clear view on how to adjust my volumes on everything. So that's what I do. I'd adjust all the melody parts with the volume, and then I also add an EQ at all melody parts, and I remove as much bass as possible for it, like just before it sounds bad. So it doesn't sound bad, of course. Just to leave room for the bass, for the 808 and the kick, and those stuff. And when we're talking about the drums, I go into my drums. I always, so this is not for the 808 or kick, but for the rest of the drums, I normalize them, and then I go into the mixer again, and then I add as the same as the melody. I remove as much bass as possible, but I add excuse me, I add a fruity stereo enhancer. And then I like screw this. It would be it would be like this, but then I move it as to the right as possible. It will sound much louder. It's just for a clear hearing, and it also sounds more. It sounds clearer for the listener, and you can hear more clearly on how to mix it. Yeah. So the 808 and the kick are a little bit special. What I do for them is I'll add 808. I'll trim it all the way down. So it can be like this. You always trim it, then you cut it. You press cut self, and then how okay. So before I talk about this is you would also do this. You would turn everything off except this one for the note to end whenever you want to in the piano roll. Like when the note ends in the piano roll, it won't be like a delayed sound of it. But before I usually do that, um, let's I'll lay down a basic 808 pattern in here. So I like press a couple where it sounds good. So it's like really basic, but then I go into the piano roll and edit it there. And what you can do there is also press this thing and press quick legato. What it does is it drags out the notes to the other note, so you don't have to do that manually. For the kick, I usually do cut self only. Same with the hi-hats as the other drums, that you use paramedic EQ, you use stereo enhancer, you do normalize. The shunt and the open hats, I don't really do anything with those except edit the volume, because I don't think it's really that necessary to do the EQing. But you could do that if you want to, and if you want a special sound of it, like intentionally, you know. The explosion, I just changed the volume. Let's see. Do I got any tips other than that? Yeah, don't. It takes a while to learn one certain type of beats. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not, definitely not. But you get what I'm trying to say is that you get more comfortable with making one certain type of beat after you've done it a couple of times, and you will learn your own strategies, what fits best for you. Maybe this is obvious, but maybe it's nice to hear. But I think the key thing is that you have one of your bass sounds that you build the other melody parts out of, you know. It helps out a lot. Anyways, I hope this. I have to. Oh wait, okay. I'll mention this before I end this as well. So for the intro, I added the love filter. So what you do is you mark here where you want it to be, and then you go into on the master and you add the love filter. I would suggest playing around with the presets and use on the filter. I recommend the simple triangle low pass LFO. You can also try the PC low pass plus phaser on the sequence option in the presets. Those are like typical for Chief Keef. So you can hear that it sounded like a little bit different when this part was playing earlier. And yeah, automation at the end for it to finish off smoothly. Okay, now I can end it. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Hope you learned something, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.